What is going on, everybody? It is Frank the Tank, and welcome to part 7 of this Belmo ball series, in which we look at every single Belmo strike ball, not including any of the overseas ones and not including any spare balls. We throw these strike balls down the lane one by one, and we answer some questions, and we basically end up rating them out of 5 stars to see how high up they get. So we're looking at the journey. Finally, I know I've held off on this one for so long. My apologies, but I had reason to do that. And the reason for that was because I needed to spend quite a lot of time with this ball to know if it truly matches up with me, to know if this ball has a place in my bag, if it's worthy of being in my bag so that I could take it anywhere. So yeah, I knew that in order to be able to answer all those questions on that checklist, I would have to practice with it, which I did, and the final test would be to take it to like league or a tournament. So yeah, my plan originally was that I was going to do this video and then I would do another video, and that would be the part 7 of this, but I figured I would combine them both. So what you guys are going to see here is me throwing the ball in a tournament, plus we are going to be doing the usual thing that we did like with the other Belmo bowling balls, where we would, answer the questions and then, see what rating it gets. So we're killing 2 birds with 1 stone here. But yeah, just to quickly summarize, I gave myself like, I don't know, maybe like a month and a half at most, probably, since basically since the release date all the way up until maybe about a week ago from when this video is going up. I gave myself that much time to throw the ball, spend as much time with it to see how good it would be for me in practice, and then I waited for a tournament to come up, because I wasn't going to do this in league, because I thought to myself, after realizing the differences, with league, you are with the team, but you are only on 1 pair of lanes, and you do not face the likelihood of the lanes transitioning, so you won't be able to make adjustments. With tournaments, more games, and you cross pairs, and you will definitely have to face lanes transitioning. You will have to make adjustments. So that would be great for me, because then I'd be able to see, can this journey, can it handle the lanes, drying up? Can it handle these adjustments? So I was killing many birds with 1 stone here, but just by doing this. So that's why I came up with that idea that instead I would combine all this stuff into one. So that's what we're going to do here. So everything was a success, and I was worried that this was all going to fall apart, but it all came together. It all worked out nicely, and now we are going to go ahead and take a look at how I did in an 8-gamer with this journey. And if you're wondering what the heck is an 8-gamer, that's the name of the tournament that I participated in. It's pretty simple, nothing too big. It's a great way to get you started if you don't have like tournament experience. I believe that this is a great way to get you started. So shout out to my man Mike Romero, who puts in the work to make all these tournaments happen at the place that I go to. So yeah, what it is 8 games, just 8 games on 8 different pairs of lanes, very much like a tournament. So very nice little beginner type tournament to get you started, to get you tournament experience, to know what it's like to be in that competitive type of environment. That's also the other thing that I find to be different compared to like between leagues and tournaments. League, it can be competitive, I guess, depending on the kind of league and depending on the kind of people you come up against, the kind of people that you team with. But with tournaments, you're on your own. You're up against people who either just as good as you or even better. So yeah, enough yapping. Let's get to this 8-gamer to see how I did with the journey. Okay, you guys, here we go. Let's get this thing going. So going into this, I was feeling pretty nervous about my game, because I had taken like 2 weeks off. I hadn't practiced at all, and then I had like 1 week of practice. Not 1 week, sorry. I had like 1 day of practice. That was all I had, and then I went to this tournament. So I was feeling pretty rusty. So I was a little worried about how I was going to do here. But anyway, my plan here was that because I had thought about like, okay, I need to answer these questions too that are on this checklist. So I thought my first plan of attack would be to use the Sunstorm, as you see here, me starting on the left lane, pairs 13 and 14. Right there we go with the Sunstorm. And the reason I did that was because, and that shot was a little bit left there. The reason I had done that was because I wanted to see what would happen if I used a different ball, right? And then I would switch to the journey to see how quickly like things would click, you know, to see how would this ball help me get back on track? Would everything feel easy? You know what I mean? So like how would this ball turn into like my go-to ball when I switched to it? That was my plan of attack here. That was what I wanted to try to do. So I purposely picked up the Sunstorm for 6 frames. And then I would switch to the journey to see how quickly, how much things would click for me. Would this ball even be a good one? Would it cause me to do worse? Would I do better? I don't know. So that's what we were going to find out here first. So I purposely started with the Sunstorm. Not bad. Luckily got that 4 out of there. So not too bad to start off. An 8 spare and a strike. Yeah, that one, I don't know what happened there, but we end up with 6. I think that one was a little late to the right, if I'm being honest. I don't like the way I entered the break point there. But one thing I really do like about this Sunstorm is that it's basically like my non-urethane alternative. Like you saw that angle I was playing. The only other ball that I would ever use to play that type of line is the pitch black. And I love that with the Sunstorm I can do that and not worry about having to tear up the lanes because the Sunstorm is not urethane. It's that spec cover that was on the Crux Prime and the Pro Motion and the Gravity Evolve. So we've got no opens to start off. That's pretty good. And right there, I noticed that the ball just grabbed really early, and I ended up with the 3, 6, 9, 10. And would you believe, I surprisingly was actually glad that this was happening. I actually wanted this to happen because this is the type of scenario that would lead me to like, okay, I'm bowling bad with this ball, I'm going to switch to this ball and see if I bowl better. You know, remember, I'm trying to answer the question, is the journey, can the journey be my go-to ball? Can it be my comfort ball? So that's really weird. I surprisingly wasn't like getting angry. I wasn't letting that open get to my head. I wasn't letting the lack of strikes in these first 4 frames, I wasn't letting it get to me. I was like, yes, this is what I want to have happen. A struggle, and then to see, can the journey get me back on track? So there I go. That was left. That wasn't out to the right. And I leave the 3, 6, 10. Luckily, the 9 wasn't there. But it's nice to see that my game wasn't really looking all that bad. One thing I was really worried about was my form. Yeah, if I'm being honest, it's really not a good idea to take a couple weeks off, go back to the lanes, practice one day, and then enter a tournament a few days later. That's literally what I did. I don't recommend that, but I'm glad that I just picked up on it like I never left. So there we go again. I'm clearly struggling with this Sunstorm. I just wasn't finding it, but like I said, this was what I wanted to have happen. So leaving the 3, 6 this time. Worried that I was only going to get the 3, but I got it all. And here we go, a change to the journey. We're going to see. That was all I needed right there. That one shot had me thinking like, oh yeah, we're back. Like, oh, that's all I needed. I literally felt great again. I started feeling the confidence. I'm telling you, these questions were getting answered. That one shot, it was amazing. All I needed was that, and suddenly, like, the switch flipped on. So we got a strike on the left lane with that first shot in the journey in the 7th, and this is the 8th. Kind of fell off a little. See, everything was going great. I was back in it. This journey, I guess, is slowly making its way to earning a spot in my bag. I could see everything. I could see where it grabbed. I could see how it turned. Everything was great. The evidence could not be more clearer than that. You see, using the Sunstorm for 6 frames, I have like 4 spares and 1 strike and an open. Picked up the journey, and look at that. I got a light hit, but a ham bone after I pick up the journey, and we're now in for a 200 game to start off game 1. This thing saved me. All right, so here we go with the second shot in the 10th. Nice form. A little too much out to the right. The ball did get back, but not enough to really slap into the pocket. I believe I left the 2. That could have been the 4. I don't know. But we saved ourselves. Picked up the journey, got a ham bone to get ourselves back in it, and we have a 200 game to start things off. Picking up that spare, and we finish off game 1 with a 212. Beautiful. Alright, so the main goal here, going into game 2, I told myself this too, is that I plan to try to use this journey for the entire thing, from beginning to end, from this second game on to the very last game, and I'm not going to make the switch, although I will say I did have to occasionally fight the impulse to try to switch balls. But there we go, fell off, stuck at the line. Well, actually no, I didn't stick, I actually slipped, but I got a really nice messenger. But yeah, it was definitely tough trying to fight with myself, like from switching bowling balls, because I did have the Fate with me on this day, and the Fate is usually my go-to pearl ball. So, but this journey, it was doing good enough to keep me from doing that. So we got 1 to start off. Nice. Little left, held and made it there, and we got a double. Alright, frame 3, no adjustments made. Standing on the same board. Wow, I actually guttered. Can you believe that? I actually guttered. You know what made that hurt even more was the fact that I was on 2 in a row. Could have been 3 in a row, and then I guttered. Nothing hurts worse than that. And then not only that, I got that left, didn't hold enough, leave 2, so I have an open. But this was actually a good thing, because then we got the chance to see, will that affect me, or will this ball help me get back in it? It helps me get back in it. Oh, and shout out to my main man, Kevin Magnuson. I think he's 18 years old, 19 years old. I still can't remember. I'm going to say he's 18 years old. He is a bowling prodigy. He's incredible. He was actually on the pair next to us on 17 and 18, absolutely tearing it up. He actually won the event. I think he averaged like 250 right on the dot. He got 250 and he won the entire thing. He didn't enroll in the scratch division, which I think he should have, because I think he would have won that too. But he only enrolled in the handicap and he won that, and absolutely incredible. I just don't know how he does it. But it's nice to see that I didn't let that gutter ball get to me as we're back on track. Whew, got very lucky with that. You could tell by the reaction. But I will say it did bug me a little bit, because knowing that I guttered in the 3rd, who knows, like if I'd have actually done the right thing, that could have been like a 6-bagger right now. And then going on to this shot, that string of strikes, I could have been making a run at 300. So yeah, it did bug me a little bit that I made that blunder. What could have been, right? That one was left, didn't hold, left the 7. But I definitely answered that question. Does this thing, like, does it give me some room to miss? And clearly it does. Not all the time, but we know that it carries pretty good. It has some hold to it if I miss left. I don't know if I've done any shots where I miss too far to the right and it gets back. But nice to see that my spare game wasn't totally terrible. My form was, but I was definitely worried about my spare game, and I would definitely. I kept telling myself, please don't leave a 10, because I don't know how I'm going to do it at that. It's been quite a while since I practiced my 10 pins. But yeah, started off with 2 in a row, opened in a 3rd and a ham bone, and now we're on the 9th frame, I think, after an 8 spare in the 8th. Whew. I lofted that one just a little bit too. That I know that played a part in why the ball entered the pins like that with the light hit. So I was feeling a little bit worried about this one going into the 10th because I knew I needed to put up something good here to be able to get into the 200s, because I know I'm pretty low right now going into the 10th, so I knew I was going to have to really not mess this up. So I tried my best to focus, put it on the line that I usually do. It seemed good, but it grabbed really hooked and it ended up going through the middle and I split. And when I looked up at the monitor, I saw that I threw it slightly slower than I usually did, and that's what led to that. And I tried telling myself, like, Frank, you've made this kind of thing before, it should be like clockwork to you. Tried the best I could, but I didn't get it out to the right enough. And I ended up with an open for 201. So I got lucky there, I admit that. That could have gone a lot worse, but luckily it was enough to get me to another 200 game. But let's be honest, I messed up in that 10th frame, and I could have had a lot higher game than that. But it's just like my friend Ivan has told me, anything over 200 is a win. And considering I'm not the greatest bowler in the world, I'll take it. But here we go into the 3rd on the left. Right back on track. And there goes my man Kevin Magnuson right there, throwing an absolute fireball of a shot. I think he was using that virtual energy blackout. A lot of people have been talking about that ball. It must be something quite special. He was tearing up the lanes with that ball all day, I think. Nice. Oh, very nice. The fact that I was so, in the zone. I felt so in the zone, so in control. Like, I felt like putting the ball down where I wanted it to was so easy because of this ball. See what I mean? I kind of went a little high. You saw that 9 pin, but still, I felt so in control. Three in a row. We're good here. We are so good. All right, back on the left lane. Can we make it another 4-bagger? I guess we cannot. And actually, no, we already are on a 4-bagger. Sorry, let me correct that. We're on the 5th frame. Man, I absolutely hate when that happens. When I'm on a string of strikes and the worst thing I can do is open. Tried to go for it. Wasn't enough, and we have an open in the 5th. Going into the 6th, after an open in the 5th, haha, there's the 10 pin. It took all the way up until game 3 to get a 10 pin. So how will I fare trying to pick up this 10? I guess you could say maybe muscle memory kicked in. Everything I remember about like my little routine for picking up the 10 pin was still there, despite the long amount of time that I spent not practicing my 10 pins. So nice to know that I still got it, even though the form was quite ugly. But here we go now into the 7th frame after that 9 spare. Slow ball speed, a little to the left. Yeah, figures. Figures. I knew that had to happen eventually, and it did. And it's as if things couldn't possibly get any worse. It did. I guttered again for the 2nd time on this day. That's unheard of for me. Meanwhile, this guy gets a messenger, and the funny thing is his name is Frank too. If you guys probably already saw that at the very beginning. Frank Hernandez with a mullet. Funny enough, he was actually live streaming this entire thing. I couldn't tell you where, and I didn't ask, but yeah, he was live streaming too. He had his tripod with his iPhone set up. All right, going into the 9th frame, desperately needing to get back into this. And of course, I felt like I got cheated right there. Alright, so I am in danger of having my first game not go over 200, because that was another goal of mine, is that I wanted to try to go through all 8 of these games with all 200 games, over 200. But, you know, one thing about me is that I always have that one really bad game that is like super low. Not wanting to risk it because I still am not confident enough to try to pick up my 4s. I hooked at it, and I thought I'd missed it, but I just clipped it. Skinny jeans, man, they fit just right. Alright, so in the 10th frame, I needed to double. No, actually, no, I needed to get all 3 to finish 200 on the dot. So here I went with the first one. Shot seemed a little bit too much to the right, but I don't know. I guess I hit the right spot on this pattern, this house shot, and the ball got back perfectly and hit. And I paid attention to that, how that ball traveled down the lane completely, so I knew, okay, that's my line. Repeat it, and you'll be just fine. So I had 1 of 3. Can I go 2 of 3? Tried my best to get on that line again. Slightly left, and I saw that and I'm thinking, oh, thank you, Lord. I'm 2 for 3. I can't believe it. Can I actually clutch this? I wish I hadn't put that thought in my head, because then I got kind of a little shaky going into this last one, knowing that I needed to get all 10 down for a 200. Looked good, right? See, I thought I had it. You could see right there my reaction. Oh man, I guess you could say I kind of celebrated a little too early. Take a look. The shot was so good though. Look at that. I felt like I'd entered the breakpoint area correctly. The ball came back so good. Hit the pocket real good. That pin just rebounds off and goes this way, and you could see me. I was about to go like this, like I usually do. Like when I'm like, you know, like when I've hit a really good one, but then I see that and I'm like, it goes from this to like, oh man. So unfortunately, I finished with that game with a 199. How cruel was that? It's freaking 7-pin, and then that pin that bounced off the wall. That one should have taken it out. But anyway, game 3 done. Going to game number 4. I was a little bummed out about that. That my streak of being able to, that goal that I had, trying to finish every game over 200, it wasn't going to happen. And that made it worse. And how about rubbing a little more salt on the wound? Clipped it, but didn't take it down. But I knew I needed to brush it off and get back in the game. Luckily, that was only the first frame, right? If that had happened later in the game, that would have been so bad. Terrible shot. The way I let that one go, you saw that. It went for a hook stop, but somehow they all fell down. All right, after that strike in the second, we moved to the third. Not bad. Oh, even better. At this point, I clearly felt like I was back in the zone. I was feeling it. I was really feeling it. Every shot felt like it was getting better and better. Back on the left lane, can I keep the string going? Fell off. Great shot anyways. String still continues. All right, back on the right lane. I believe this is the 7th frame, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, there's the 9-pin. Oh, that hurts. Haven't missed a spare yet, apart from any of the splits. Yeah, it really sucks that that 9-pin gave me just interrupted my string of strikes, and you're gonna see why. So going into the 8th frame, left and held. So we know this ball has miss room now. All right, 9th frame. Can we make a new string? Yes, we can. And that 9-pin, I had my eye on it. And you could tell by my reaction too. Like I was like, phew. That 9-pin, man, it was scaring me. It was scaring me quite some. But anyway, here we go into the 10th frame. And yeah, I just really hated that 9-pin interrupted the string of strikes in the 7th frame, because as you could see, I clearly could have kept this going. You know, I could have just gone all the way through, because remember, we went for an open on the 1st, right? And then from the 2nd to the 6th, we had a string. If that 9-pin hadn't like just done what it did, I would have continued on. And this could have been a lot higher. But I was relieved, because I knew this was another game well over 200. It was a pretty high game. So I was pretty happy about that. Left. Oh, look at that hold, man. It's not just the ball, it's the pattern. Let's all admit that. Not just the ball. And can we close it out? Unlike what happened in the previous game. Kind of bad form. We got it. Yeah, see, I knew it. I was like, yes. 258. That's how you recover after a bad game. Okay, here we go. Game number 5. I was scared about this one, because if any of you have ever seen my lead videos, you know how I feel about this pair. I've been told that it is the highest scoring, it's known to be the highest scoring pair out of any of the other pairs in the house, but I don't see it that way. I see this pair as being a horrible pair that dries out with lanes that dry out quicker than any of the other lanes in the house. Like, seriously, this section right here, it just, all the oil disappears quicker than any of these lanes, and you end up having to move to the left so quickly, so early. It's just really, really bad. But luckily, everything was going right on this day with these lanes. I didn't have to make any big moves. I didn't see any, like, dry patches. Everything was pretty good. But, you know, all those thoughts about this pair causing me problems, those, you know, these lanes, the history that I've had with them, they all came to my head, and I was trying my best not to let it get to me. And then that happened. And yeah, I don't know why that was another thing that caused me a concern, is during practice, there were times where I would, it would be like super slippery, or I would just like stick and then end up losing my form at the line and then having a bad shot. But I was lucky that didn't result in a split. But yeah, the lanes were surprisingly pretty good even after 5 games. There was still some oil down there. I was still standing on the same board that I was all this time. From the first game where I was standing with the Journey, I think that was like board 27, possibly 28, I can't remember. But yeah, I was still standing on that same board. No adjustments were made all through these 5 games. That's pretty amazing. That's rare for me. But I tried my best to attempt making this. Ended up being a horrible attempt. Yeah, throughout the entire time where I was on this pair, I tried my best to think about the main thing, and the main thing for me was that line. Remember that line and do not think about anything else. Do not think about the fact that this pair is the one that causes you problems. Do not think about any of those dry patches that usually happen on this pair. Do not think about any of that. Worry about that line only. You shouldn't be thinking about anything else. I tried my best to do that and not get distracted by anything. So back on the left, I think this is the 5th frame now. Ten-pin, not bad, but I kind of expected that the way I had it going down the lane. And then, you know, I don't know what it is with me too. I also had this problem. Do you guys have this problem too, where this pair, you know, 1 and 2, and any place, any bowling place, do you have a problem with the lane, like this wall? Do you have a problem with this wall? Even though, obviously, clearly I've got a lot of room here between me and this wall. Does it ever get to your head that, like, you feel like that wall is just literally right next to you? I have that problem. that was another thing that was kind of getting to my head, is that wall feeling like it's right next to me, even though it's not. I've got some leg room. Oh, skinny jeans again. That's clearly some kind of, I don't know, some kind of psychological thing with me. Like the fact that I have a lot of leg room on that left lane, but that wall, I always feel like it's like right next to me and I'll have no room and it'll mess me up. Great shot. Great entry into the break point. That's exactly what I was looking for. And luckily, around this time, the timing couldn't have been any better too. My friend Ivan, really close friend of mine, he started messaging me because he knew I was bowling this tournament. I told him about it days ago, days prior to the event, and yeah, he was having a conversation with him. It was something that I didn't realize that I needed, because it was helping me stay calm. It was helping me remember the important thing that it helped me keep in mind that thing that I wanted to remember, and that was playing that line and not thinking about anything else. So he was helping, he was my help. He was guiding me through this. He was helping me keep my head in the game, despite this pair clearly playing with my head. Messed up right there with my form, but got back on it. All right, back on the left. Fell off again, but the shot looked fantastic. And yeah, I thought it was going to hook a lot and go through the nose, and I saw that 7 too, but whew, I got lucky. The bowling gods were clearly with me on this day, because that was so left. I walked away from it, didn't even bother to look at it, and it wasn't until this guy right here, the way he looked at me and how he started chuckling is that's when I asked him, like, did it strike? And he was like, yeah, it did. So I got very lucky on that one. So yeah, the bowling gods were clearly watching over me with that one. Clearly, I've been given a second chance. So yeah, who knows what anything could have happened there. That could have been a split, could have been a gutter, but instead it was a Brooklyn strike. And with that one, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you other than the ball speed was kind of slow, because the shot was good. I was on the line that I wanted it to be on, but the ball just went what looked like through the nose, and I left a 10. But I was relieved, because I knew I'd gotten another over 200 game on the pair that I hate so much. Picked up that 10, and I finished out with a 225. And here we go with game number 6. Finally thrilled and relieved to be off of that 1 and 2 pair. Moving on to 3 and 4. This first shot was going to be like my test shot to see, because we're already late into the block, game 6 out of 8. And I'm thinking, all right, how toasted is this lane going to be? Are we finally going to have to start making some moves here? And surprisingly, that shot was actually bad, so I couldn't tell. I knew I was going to have to get up on this left lane to figure out, am I going to be making moves or not? So I left another 3-6-10 here. Tried to go for it, lofted it. Wasn't enough. Was hoping for a miracle, but I didn't get it. All right, so we open up to start game 6 on the right lane. How do we do on the left? Nothing much to say other than good shot. So despite striking on that left lane, I still didn't have a really clear picture of what needed to happen on this pair. Until I threw that shot. And then I thought, I think I'm fine where I'm at for now. Alright, so I think we're on the 4th now. And this one was telling for me. Look at that. Early. It grabbed there when I expected it to grab over here. So then I thought, okay, we hit a dry spot. Looks like we're going to have to start making those moves. So I wasn't really too worried about the split, because like I said, I've done these so many times to the point where I feel like I know exactly what I needed to do. And I did it just fine, kept myself in the game. So now I needed to keep that in mind. The left lane has a little dry patch that'll make the ball grab early, so I needed to make a move on that left lane. But how about this right lane? Good shot. Made it there, and I thought, okay, we can stay here where we've always been on the right lane, but the left lane needs a bit of a change. Luckily, the change wasn't bad enough to the point where I would have to switch off of this ball and move to something a little bit less aggressive like the fade. That's usually my go-to ball when the lane starts to dry up. And I got that one left, and it held, but it was at this point where basically after that left lane being a little bit drier, that I basically started answering that question: Will I be able to make it to the end with this ball, or will the ball not be able to handle this? Will it be too much for this ball to handle these dry lanes? Can it make it to the pins? Will it overhook? What'll happen? The lanes didn't seem too dry to the point where I would have to switch off of this ball, so. Then that happened, and I thought, yeah, it looks like we're going to have to start making some moves on this right lane as well. Because I really did like that shot. The speed felt great, the release felt great, I was on the line. So I knew, okay, if I went through the nose like that, I think that was through the nose, and I clearly need to do what my man Mike Romero told me. When you see something, when you like the shot, when you got it, everything, when you got all your stuff in order, the shot was correct, the release was correct, the speed was good. When you like everything about the shot, but it went through the nose, then you need to move 2 boards to the left. So I felt like that's what I needed to do here. So I told myself the next time I get back on this right lane, move from board 24, where I was standing on this right lane, and go to 26, 2 boards over. Oh man, that was too much to the right. I truly believe that that's the first time in a little while now that I actually missed my target, because you see, I tried my best to get the ball to enter through here, and I like went way the heck over here, causing the ball to get some late hook up in there. And now I have the washout to deal with. But I picked that up too. I am on fire today, aren't I? Alright, so I think this is the 9th frame based on what I'm looking at here. Because let's see, that counts as a 6 spare, so 8. Yeah, I think this is the 9th frame, so we're doing pretty hot here. We're pretty good. After converting the split, I think that was in the 4th, and then converting the washout. I'll tell you, this is a really great game, considering what has occurred here. Very nice. Made the move. Oh, left the 4. Still can't use my spare ball, so I hooked at it. Luckily, I didn't just barely clip it like I did the last time. Alright, I'm not going to lie to you. After what happened on that right lane, that what looked like a high hit to me, I was scared. So I decided, let's try and make the move that I was going to move if I had another shot on this right lane. After that high hit, I was going to go from 26 to 26 and a half. I thought, let's try that on this left lane and see what happens. So I did. I went to 26 and a half here, and it worked. I struck. So I gave it another go, knowing that I needed to double to get another 200 game. Real nice. Really, really nice. That was so good. Clutched. I got the double that I needed. Now all I needed was high count, and I was good to go. Alright, so this last shot, I wasn't too worried. I knew all I needed was 3 pins, but then the thought of guttering came to my head, and I thought, just keep it on the lane. Who cares what you do? Kept it on the lane, left 3, but it was enough to get a 204. So the ball was clearly helping me clutch what I needed, so that's nice. Now I know I can count on this ball when it comes to those kinds of situations, when I need to strike in the 10th or double or something like that. So anyway, here we go with game 7 on 26 and a half. Oh man, that 7 pin. Don't you dare try and troll me. Yeah, I didn't bother to try to go back to 24 where I'd been standing pretty much throughout this entire event. I made the decision, let's stay on 26 and a half now, because I have a feeling that if 3 and 4 were starting to have those little dry patches like we saw, then I figured 5 and 6 are definitely going to be the same, if not even drier. So 26 and a half was where I was going to start from this point till the end. So we started off with a strike. Nice shot. Oh my god, again with the 7-pin. What is going on here? Alright, how about a triple? Can we get a 3-bagger? I kind of got lucky there. I didn't really like that shot. If I'm being honest, the way that entire shot went down the lane, it looked like it should have like grabbed early, overhooked, and went through the nose, but something happened there. The only thing I can think of is thank you, House Shot, for being so forgiving. But anyway, here we go. Can we get a ham bone? Yeah, we can. That little hop there, I'm in the zone. I'm like, yes, let's keep it going. So this is quite surprising to me, honestly, because, you know, it's usually later in the block when the lanes start drying when I start to struggle, because I still, wow, look at that high hit. You can tell by my reaction that was so lucky that that 4 fell down. Yeah, usually I'm that type of guy, like I haven't practiced enough with dry, like when the lanes start drying or when, you know, they get really, really bad, and I haven't practiced enough with that to know how to handle it. I mean, I have practiced a little bit, but not a lot, but usually I tend to struggle, and that's normal because, you know, when the lanes get drier and you have to move to the left, things get harder. When are they supposed to get easier, right? That's kind of, that should be considered a rare thing. But for me, surprisingly, everything was working out great. I mean, look at that. We still got the string of strikes going. It seems as though I was going for a complete reversal. I mean, as the lane started to dry, as we started crossing pairs, my scores would go up. I mean, look at this. Game 4 with the 258, Game 5 with the 225, Game 6 with the 204, and you'd think by this point my scores would go lower, but no, it went up. How about another one? Oh my goodness. I am getting way too many chances here. I should not be getting all these chances. I don't deserve them. But, gotta take them. Can't get it back. Oh, there it is. There we go. All my chances have been used up. All my second chances are gone now. But what a run. 7 in a row. That was really cool. If there's one thing I never expected to happen on this day was for me to have such a large string of strikes. But it happened. 7 in a row. The front 7. That's really nice. I'm only hoping now that I don't suffer from, like, the feeling of being burnt out, you know? Like, we've all seen this happen. When somebody shoots a perfect game and then the next game they completely just plummet because, I don't know, it really, after shooting a 300, it really takes it out of you. You really feel like you've used up all your energy. So I was hoping that, like, after this front 7 that I don't feel that feeling of being burnt out. I hope that I could still continue on striking. Going into the 9th, that's a little left, but it held, got them all, 10 back. And this right here, looking back on it, man, I am so disappointed at how I threw this away. The release was bad. I could tell from that. I actually felt it too on that day. I was like, oh, I know that one's not going to be good. And you'd think, like, okay, this is simple. I can pick that up, right? Instead, I end up whiffing on it. I threw it away and I end up with the 247. This could have been my high game, but instead my high game continues to be 258 in Game 4. Don't get me wrong though, that was a great game, but man, I really hate when I throw away an easy opportunity. That could have been my high game for sure. But anyway, here we go with Game 8. Nice form. Oh, I hate you, 9-pin. Now, I will say, this is pretty fantastic. The fact that my lowest game out of all of this right now is a 199. That, wow. And even crazier, the fact that like I said, in the lead up to this, I took a couple weeks off. And then after I had taken my vacation, I only practiced one day. I only had one practice session, and then I entered this tournament. Alright, here we go in the left lane. That was nice. I'll tell you what, guys, I am very, very stunned here because All right, let's look at this. I started off on board 24 with this journey, right, in game 1. And all the way up to this very last game, I've only made a 2-board adjustment. 2.5 actually, because I do believe I did say I went to 26.5. And in this 8th game, I still have not moved off of that. So from 24 to 26.5. That is truly remarkable, honestly. 2.5 board move, that's it, out of all this. The journey, what a great ball. Yeah, another question that I didn't realize that I basically answered was the fact that I never really lost my momentum with this ball, because I do have that issue as well, where if I use a ball for too long, I eventually start, you know, mentally I start to lose, you know, I don't know, I start to lose my momentum, I guess. You know, I start losing my line, I can't repeat shots, I just, everything starts getting out of whack, and I need to pick up a new ball to refresh my mind or something like that. And with this ball, that didn't have to happen. So that's really a great thing, that I have a ball that I could go through an entire event with without having to switch off of it. See what I mean? Still there. I could go all day with this ball. Despite feeling mentally and physically fatigued here, like, you know, that feeling where, man, I'm done. Like, I just want to go home. I want this to be over. Despite feeling that way, I was still striking. So, love that. And this is why we have to give a lot of credit to the pros, because the amount of games that they bowl in a PBA event, man, it's insane. They do 8 games in one round, like in the morning, and then they'll probably return later that day, like a couple hours later, to do another 8. I don't understand how they do it. But they have my respect. I give them all the credit in the world. Alright, I'm not even sure where we are at this point. I lost track, but... Alright, we split, so that means 10... We're on the 9th frame. We made it to the end. Holy cow. I tell you, it was quite the battle. I mean, we started this event at like, let's see, check-in was at 10, and the event started at 11, and this thing didn't end until about 4:30. So we were out there all day. Oh yeah, please, give me a challenge. Okay, that was a really nice strike by that Frank Hernandez with the mullet. Didn't think I'd ever see that hairstyle again. If any of you were wondering, what was he using to get that really sweet roll? Well, for one, he has a really good hand and really good release, and 2, he was using an IQ Tour Nano Pearl. Old ball, discontinued. They don't make that anymore. Oh, very nice. Very, very nice indeed. But yeah, here we are at 2024, and what do we have now? The IQ Tour Solid still on the market. Historic, very nice. And then I believe the IQ Tour Ruby is still on the market, and now we have the IQ Tour 78 or something like that, which is, I don't think that's a urethane ball, but it acts like it's urethane. I can't remember. Or maybe it is. I should have looked up. I should have done my research. I think it is a urethane ball, but with some changes made to it because of the whole hardness rule or whatever that they made in the PBA. So they can't use urethane balls like the pitch black or the purple pearl urethane from Hammer, things of that nature. Jesus, that was a lot of hold, and that shot was pretty bad. Got it left. I deserved to leave that 10 pin, but I was done. I just couldn't wait to step up and just throw the ball. I didn't even care that I missed it. Especially because I got over 200 again. I was just done. I knew, mission accomplished. I didn't even care that I missed that. I was done. I knew that I didn't win, but I felt like I had achieved everything I'd wanted. Okay, you guys, so in case you were curious as to where I placed in this tournament, there were 50 people who signed up, and I managed to finish 13th in the handicap part of it. So not bad. I got 1764 out of 8 games. That's 220 average, as you guys just saw. But yeah, congratulations to my man Kevin Magnuson, who you saw probably once or twice. He was on the pair to the right of us, and he just absolutely destroyed this entire tournament. He got 2,000 even. That's 250 average. This kid is unbelievable, and it blows my mind that he's not even 20 years old yet, and he's able to bowl like that. So, yeah, congratulations to you, Kevin. You are the man, and I hope I never have to come up against you because, man, you are crazy for this. Look at this. He got 214 in game 1, 270 in game 2, 231 in game 3, Game 4, 269. Game 5, 257. Game 6, 246. Game 7, 255. And Game 8, 258. Never lost his momentum. He is unbelievable. I hope that he continues to do something with that high level of skill because it'll clearly get him somewhere. I hope he doesn't just leave that and does nothing with it. I hope he I know he's doing tournaments. I know he goes to like Vegas and like South Point Plaza, and I know he goes out and does events. So I hope that he really ends up going pro or something like that because that level of skill is amazing. So anyway, yeah, and the one where I think it really matters is the scratch division. I didn't enroll in it because, like I said, I wasn't looking to go all out here. I just wanted to see how I would do with the journey. But if I did enroll in it, let's see, I would have placed out of the 14 people that did enroll in the scratch division, I would have gotten 6th, which I say is not bad. And I truly believe that because Kevin, like I said, he didn't enroll in the scratch division either. He only enrolled in handicap. I truly believe that he would have won it because the guy who did win it, Gary Gardner Jr., if any of you remember that name, I've mentioned his name so many times in my league videos because he's just a fantastic bowler. That dude is overpowered. He only got 1885 and Kevin got 2000, so that kid would have walked away with all the money. But unfortunately, I don't know why he didn't, but yeah, anyway, that is that. So I guess now we can go ahead and look at these questions, answer them, and see where the journey will land in these ratings. Okay, you guys, it's time to begin the checklist. Let's do this. All right, question number 1. Does the length and shape match up to me? Yes, it does. I can see that. I can see the length of it. I can see the shape. The thing is, I think I said this in my review video of the journey that it's like an uproar, and I loved the uproar. I regret getting rid of that ball, but I might get another one, but maybe not. But because you see, like this ball, it's like an uproar. So why get an uproar if this thing is similar? So question number 2, does it carry? Oh, heck yeah, it does. I mean, yeah, okay, I did go through those moments where I left a 9-pin or a 10-pin or something like that, but I felt like that was probably my fault. I mean, I answer that with yes because it's not like like if I would have run into like a 9-pin, a 7-pin, a 10-pin a lot, then I would probably answer no to that. But I didn't really have that problem too much. So anyway, question number 3, do the colors help? Yes, and I'm not gonna lie to you. When I first saw how the colors that they splashed onto this ball, I was thinking that they were gonna be too bright, too swirly when the ball would roll down the lane. Like the RST X3. That ball is an example of a ball that was too distracting for me because the colors were too flashy, too bright, and I couldn't see that ball roll. I know that sounds stupid, but it's just a thing with me. Question number 4, is it good on fresh? Absolutely. You guys saw it there. I don't even need to explain it. Is it good for transition? Yeah, even though we didn't see a whole heck of a lot of transition, like, the fact that I didn't have to make a big move and I stayed on 24 throughout like more than half the block and then only made like a 2.5 board move. It wasn't a big one, but I think that question was answered anyway in that comparison video where I compared the phase 2, the fate, and the journey because I played 8 games and I tried my best to burn the hell out of that lane, and I got to the point where I was like, I don't even know, like on board 40. So I think that I think that answered the question. That ball can handle transition. Does this ball give me immediate confidence? You guys saw it. I was on the Sunstorm, and then I picked up the Journey and just started putting down those haymakers, as they say. So let's see, number 7. Does it help me stay focused? Yes, it does. I can't believe that I actually got through an entire event using just that one ball. Question number 8. Am I confident enough to use this in League? I'm going to say yes because, like I said, Attorney is, in my opinion, a lot tougher than League because it's a League is only 3 games. There's not a lot of, you probably will not face the lanes drying up. Yeah, you will have to wait quite a bit of time in between your shots because it's a team thing, but with the tourney, you're crossing pairs. You will face the likelihood of transition, and yeah, because of what we have done in this tournament, I think it's enough to say that, yeah, I could handle this ball in League. I could definitely take it with me, and I would absolutely be putting up high scores. Number 10. Does this ball give you room to miss? It did. Yeah, it did. So there you go. Another ball with a perfect 10. I cannot believe it. I didn't think it would happen, but it did. So, okay, you guys, here it is, the ratings list. As you can remember, the promotion at the time list unfortunately finished with a 2 out of 5. The drive ended up with 2.5, and the trend and trend 2 ended up with 4 out of 5, and the fate got a perfect 5 out of 5. So, if you can remember, there were 10 questions, but for every 2 questions that I answered yes, it counts as a star. So, obviously we got out of 10 we got perfect. So the Journey is going up there with the Fate, and rightfully so, because this makes sense. Because you see, when they started with the timeless and the drive, I mean, you're never really going to get it right the first time, or maybe the second time. It takes a couple tries, and being that these are the 2 most recent releases for Belmo, it makes sense. He's had all these other bowling balls to, you know, and all this time as well to understand a little better what it takes to make a bowling ball, understanding the shapes, the lengths, you know, the whole science behind making a bowling ball. And he even admitted too that with the creation of the Fate, this was the most input that he had into the making of the ball, and that's why that ball came out being as good as it is. Especially for me, like, I love the ball. It is the best pearl ball, symmetrical pearl ball that I've ever tried. Obviously, my number 1 favorite being the nuclear cell. Nothing will ever top that. But yeah, the Fate. It's my favorite pearl symmetrical ball. I'm sorry, but I put that one over the Journey. If you had to like make me pick, because you know the way that ball is, the length on it, the shape, the way it handles the lanes drying up, it's just so perfect for me. And you know, after having used this Journey in that tournament, it's safe to say that it has officially earned a permanent spot in the bag. So this thing would definitely come with me to leagues, tournaments. It is so good. The fact that everything, like, for me, flipped on like a switch, and I was able to just put up high scores, and I was able to use it throughout the entire day, and I didn't feel like I would like burn out and need to use a different ball to get back in the game. The fact that I didn't even have to make such big moves. I only made like a 2.5 board move throughout the day is incredible. So it makes sense why these 2 bowling balls are a perfect 5 out of 5. It would have been a surprise if they didn't get such a high rating from me, but this makes sense, being that they are the later ones and they've had all this time, all these chances to figure out where they went wrong and how they could correct it, how they could make it better. So yeah, there it is. Journey, 5 out of 5. Fate, 5 out of 5. And that is it. So that is where we stand with all of this. It's kind of a shame that we couldn't do these Timeless SE, Timeless Space, Trend SE, and Promotion Tour. I regret not snatching those back when they were kind of on the market. It would have been easier to get them, but because they're overseas, they would have been very expensive. But I regret not snatching those, and now trying to get those is next to impossible because they're not really appearing anywhere. So even though I have all the stateside releases, it's still kind of, there's still that part of me that bugs me that the collection is not fully complete because of those overseas releases. And I actually hate that there exist overseas releases. Why can't we all just be friends and work together? But no, there has to be, Storm in Europe somewhere that develops completely different bowling balls and different combinations with, like, of cover stocks and things like that. Like, for example, what's one? Oh yeah, the ProMotion. Here we have this one, right? The worldwide release. And then, of course, over there in Europe somewhere or in Asia, they have to make their version of it, which this one, I believe, a different cover, but the same piston core. I can't remember the cover that was on the ProMotion, but it was a different cover. So, yeah, I hate that that kind of thing exists. But anyway, that's it from me. That's the journey. That was me using it in a tournament, and this is the rating that it got, and rightfully so. So anyway, that is the end of this series for now. It's not goodbye forever, because I imagine Belmo will be making more Belmo bowling balls in the near future. So we are definitely going to have to redo this series again when it happens, because by then my game will have changed even more. Remember, I'm still learning stuff. I'm still improving. And I will have spent more time with these bowling balls. And who knows, maybe the ratings will change. I don't know. But anyway, that's it for me for now. That was part 7 to 7, the journey. Hope you guys enjoyed this series for now. And yeah, I will catch you guys real soon with something else, and I don't know what. But I will say this, after having used the journey in this tournament and actually having played in this tournament, I feel like it's time to probably get back into League, because I felt so good to be in that competing environment again. So maybe we'll do League again soon. I don't know. I don't know what the future holds, but that's it for me. Frank the Tank, out.